Hey Twitch, we're back for the next part of our show tonight, and we gotta find out what happens more time has passed. So, Travis, what's going on?
Yeah, so this is the portion where I want to ask you guys, what's going on? What happens with you? You all probably leave the city over the next 2 to 4 weeks. How does that look? Do you leave as a group? Do you leave alone? Does someone split off from the party? Does someone join? Um, how do you all as players want to go about this? I want to see you guys write the end to your stories, and I think the best way to leave that is to find out what new adventures you might be embarking on. So who would like to start?
I'm happy to start.
By all means.
So, Fun would probably spend, the next few days with the rest of the group if everyone's hanging around. But she would probably, after a few days, let the group know that she'd like to go home, at least for a short while, and essentially relay her travelers to someone who can record it for her people, seeing as she's from a relatively small town of elves, and she can't write it down herself, so she wants to make sure that it's kind of there for future generations to read about or understand in terms of the dangers that there are, as well as, that they don't need to stay at home to have an impact on the world around them. So she'd probably spend at least a month away from the group. If the rest of the group wanted to stay together, she would essentially set a meeting place with them and return to them. But it really depends on what everyone else says. So
Sure.
at least a month at home.
Sure. Yeah.
Getting
So
the story recorded.
awesome. So you're arranging some travel to head home for some time, if not to meet up with the group in the future, and as I think you're like asking about groups heading out that way, traveling alone is still dangerous. There's still some rogue elements of the Black Fang around, and they are none too friendly to you. I think you're discussing hitching a ride with like a caravan or a group of horsemen heading out that way, and you're approached by a familiar figure. He is not very large for an elven man, kind of more slim and lithe. And he is the kind of shrewd, calculating look that you would assume a spy master would. General Aravan kind of approaches you and says, I heard you were booking, looking to travel back home, my dear. And the head of the Wild Elf Intelligence group kind of looks at you appraisingly.
Fawn would be a little taken aback at him approaching her, since she's not used to speaking with him. But she would definitely let him know that her intentions were to go back home, and to see old family and old friends and old comrades, and tell her story.
Quite the noble intent. I think many of us do not see further than our forests and are a bit hesitant to step out into the world. I, on the other hand, think we need more capable people out and about, making sure to keep an eye on things. I think we let this situation get a little too far out of hand, and it is unfortunate that it was so long before you and Thea could intervene.
She kind of nods and quietly agrees with him and says, I suppose I'd like to seek passage with you back home, if you don't mind.
Of course, my dear, we'd be happy to hear the tale told by, someone with first-hand knowledge. And I would be, of course, interested to hear where your next travels might lead. I can always help lend an ear or It would always be good to receive notes on things going on outside our forests. And he gives you kind of a shark smile.
She smiles knowingly and says, I understand what you're asking of me, and I don't think it'll be a problem going forward. And then depending on what the rest of the group would do would probably influence other things that she'd say,
Sure.
depending on if the group's meeting up or not.
Of course, I think traveling with your friends, your very capable friends, would be wise. I have to ask you, though, my dear, how high does the sycamore grow? And I think as he grins, like we wipe over to Nina.
Friendly DM wipe.
So Nina, what are you up to over the next few days?
I guess just sort of thinking about things.
Mm.
And then I think as, you know, we're all about to discuss and figure out what we're going to do, Nina finally comes to the realization that she isn't actually leaving.
Really?
She's
Interesting.
actually going to stay behind in Cien and not only help the new Supreme Chancellor
Or High Counselor, whatever.
or High Counselor.
Palpatine, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
Lady Sudaril would be happy to have your assistance.
And-
Cien is mostly elven in population, but the late Lord Arendelle has been succeeded by his son, and the border city that's now part of Cien is very much human. So yeah, how would you go about approaching her to lend a hand?
I guess just a formal request to meet with her.
Sure. Yeah, she grants it. So I think we see you in the offices that used to belong to High Counselor Tegan, that have now been outfitted with like her family sigil. And I think you enter, and her daughter that you rescued is there. And she sort of shoos her off with the nanny. But she, you know, as she is, the little girl's kind of escorted out of the room, she waves at you and says, "Hi, Nina. Good to see you again."
It's been too long. I had refresh my memory. When we left her, were we like on first name basis with her because we saved her daughter and everything, or? It's been a while since the Repian incident, so.
Yeah. Since you've been in Rippian, I mean, Lady Tanev Sudaril has ascended to the High Counselorship after Lord Tegan abdicated, and like she's got to be very formal in public, but you've gotten a couple of chances behind closed doors to talk with her and fill her in singly about what's been going on, and she's been very informal with you. She's invited you before to call her Tanev.
Yeah.
By her first name, not her family name.
Okay, yeah, so I guess I'd just be addressing her as Tanif then, in my talks with her.
Yep, she nods and invites you in, offers you wine.
Yeah, I take it.
How may I help you, Nina, my dear?
Actually, it is I who wishes to help you, Tanif. Even though Nephish may be gone, that does not necessarily mean all her underlings are gonna sit quiet.
I've been worried about that. We've questioned the doppelganger that was imitating Lord Tegan for some time, but he's quite resistant to our methods of persuasion. I'm afraid that if we push him too far, he may not be able to offer any answers anymore. But there are certainly rogue elements out in the wild that we could use some help cleaning up. I would be happy to have you as long as you're willing to offer a hand. I could even see to you getting a commission into the army of Cien, special command, I think. You seem to be quite the army of one. And she kind of like smiles and raises her goblet.
Yeah, I just raise and I think back for a second and go, The other I think about it, in the Cien military, Teneth, are there any Fae that's assist?
We're quite friendly with the Fae. The group of Thorns that were at the celebration are here with our blessing. They were helping clean out some matters in the wilds that are less of a concern to us city dwellers, though still very important. We supported them with whatever materials and aid we could give them, though they preferred to work alone. Did you wish to seek them out? I don't know if they're still in the capital. It's hard to keep track of the Fae.
You see a grin on Nina's face, just says, not just thinking if I'm going to be a commander of a special unit, I'm going to need a first lieutenant. And someone just came to mind.
Yeah. She nods and says, they were especially eager to talk to you. Something about knowing something of your past. They wouldn't give any details, but they said they had offered it to you before. She shrugs and says, I don't know such a thing as attractive, but if they're willing to follow your lead, I'm more than happy to appoint you as our liaison to our warrior Fae friends.
That sounds delightful. It just raises her cup up.
She nods and toasts to you again. And I think we move over to see Caben. Caben, what are you up to at this point?
What does Caben decide to do?
I mean, are you in the room with Durian, or who are you with?
I think I am. So yeah, future plans does involve Durian for sure. Not to take away from whatever his seen, but
Sure. Maybe you're discussing it.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess the
So I have a pretty firm idea about what I'm doing.
Sure,
and
I'm just
so
saying
maybe you'd like
the discussion
to,
in the room that we're talking about is your your land deed and possible adventurers guild that we talked about.
So I'll paint the picture a bit. It's later in the evening after that first ceremony, or maybe it's a couple days later, and Mazuti's here and Llewellyn's here, and we're having drinks.
Nice.
And I sit everybody down, and I say, so listen, I got this land, and we have some high-value targets ahead, and I envision a place where the most capable adventurers can gather together and find some very lucrative but also beneficial tasks to go about. An adventurers guild that I would like to establish up in my holdings in Glimmerhaven.
And I think there's like a cough to your side. And Walter speaks up and he says, "My lord, should I be taking notes?" Yeah, he pulls out like a sheath and a bottle of ink. "My lord, should I be taking notes?"
Yes, this is important.
He like quickly unstoppers the ink, dips in a quill, taps it on the edge, and stands poised.
I look at Mazuti and I say, there's a very ancient dragon on the Spellscarred Plains that is possibly marshaling her forces.
Her eyes immediately narrow.
Yeah. This is not something that we could go out and recruit talent for. I don't think it is a problem that is likely to spill over yet, but it's coming. And there will be other dragons. I would like a central place where capable talent can be recruited for such missions. There are, I look at Llewellyn, ventures to go out and seek people capable enough to track down myths or legends that are perhaps more so than just on the words.
He bounces in his seat.
Yeah, I say, we will need, if you don't mind me saying, investors early on for such ventures, but with
He stops bouncing a little.
I look and I say, have I ever left your coffers less full than when they began? It is a place.
You got me there, Darian.
If this is a place where people with wealth can know that investing in a party to go pursue something that their returns will be justified, I think that would be beneficial for all. I plan to move in the next couple of weeks, Caben, and to go make sense of what are my holdings up in Glimmerhaven, to begin to get the word out, to build the beginnings of a guild of sorts. I'd hope you'd come with me. I don't know what Nina and Fawn plan, but I'd hoped you all would come with me and get us started. It lends credibility. I'll be honest, I don't know what you plan now that you have a child on the way, but I know my days are just beginning on this road. I've got a lot ahead, and I want to put that energy to use now. So really, Mizudi, we all talk. I guess Mizudi and what she wants to do.
She nods and
and
says,
Llewellyn. I mean, no, like we can talk about it,
Sure.
Travis. I don't know how much you want to, because really the conversation I care about is with Caven.
Yeah, I think she nods and says, that would be an interesting venture to me, depending on what the details are. How
Could
far is this Titan's Hill of yours?
It's
Yeah.
north of Locust.
Where-
It's in the southern end of Glimmerhaven, but
We know it's
don't know what-
Glimmerhaven is some ways west as well. That's a far trip, but I could see a bit more of the world.
and as I said, the threat is here. At least the threat known is in Speldscar Plains. So if you wish to stay and deal with it, I would understand. But my intent is to recruit you here because of your vast experience, and to know that there's a latent threat in Ariadnish. And what are the name of the mountains between the northern continent and the south?
That is where I am from.
Yes, the threat always is there's brewing, as you have mentioned. So
Yes, that
Establishing
is
a-
where Reikumen came from.
establishing a contingent where people will know to go to when such rumors need to be chased down, and more importantly, beasts are discovered young and can be put to death before they fester. That is
Just
my
be
vision.
careful, Sir Darian. You don't want to make a dragon-killing guild too easy to find.
This is true. Some of this will definitely be an adventurers guild, but I imagine, and it's as its front, seeking fame, fortune, riches, and gold. But underneath of it, you will have some of the most capable and skilled fighters to go out. People who are unattached to landed aristocracy or borders, who can feel comfortable taking on such a task. So maybe this is me wanting to inform you of my intentions, so you know where to come.
I appreciate it, Darian. What do you think about all this, Caben?
Yeah, Caben. What does Silverell think? What does the alchemist's son think?
I think Filverell likes being with a dragon slayer.
Let's just
Well, I told you I'd join you to Titan's Hill. I don't know if I can speak how my plans are after that, but I'll journey there with you, get some stuff set up. I think Filverell does want to take a small trip up north back to my hometown, but I think after that we'll head back down to you and set up shop and see what happens.
Well, it's on the way north
You can
and
get
west.
my
which
house
is-
built by the time I get back, I'm sure, right?
Oh, absolutely. Prized chambers. If you guys travel with me to Glimmerhaven before heading to the north, I would appreciate that.
I would like that.
Nice.
Yeah,
So we see. I
we
think
talk
we
details and visions after that, but it's
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think we see like Durian's pitch to you. Caben, did you want a separate scene at all,
Mm-hmm.
or was that kind of a good one to end on?
That was
like,
a good one.
yeah, we'll go see the parents.
Yeah, like there's the side
Introduce
scenes
them.
with Phil Varell and talk about those trips and whatnot. But the main
Yeah.
scene was getting the details for this Venturers Guild during I.
Yeah. So I guess the important question to leave the campaign off on is she going to be having an illegitimate child, or is there a ceremony performed between now and meeting the
Ooh.
parents?
Doesn't make it illegitimate if he welcomes the child.
Before meeting the parents, well, the traveling time is long, right? How long is the traveling from here to Glimmerhaven?
From here to Glimmerhaven, few weeks,
And then
and then
there,
probably another few weeks up to your parents.
Yeah, because they'd have to boat.
Well,
wouldn't
that's,
they?
I guess,
Okay.
okay, sure. Small scene. I would talk that with Phil Varell. I would move to having a ceremony at the Adventurer Halls once it's open, so to speak.
Sure.
But if she pushes and she's like, no, I don't want to meet your parents married, then maybe happen beforehand. But
No, I think she looks at you and says, "Are you serious? Are you? Is marriage what you seek?" I have tried not to put pressure on you, but it would restore my honor a bit if that is what you wish. It is-
I take her hand and say, Phil Varell would make me very happy.
In that case, can we have the counselor marry us today?
Oh!
Well, that reveals her opinion.
do you like let her hand go?
I think this scene just ends right there with Caven's shocked expression.
Can the High Counselor marry us today? Caven blanches. End of campaign.
Oh wow.
I like it. All right. Well, everyone, that was an adventure for beginners. We're not so much beginners anymore. But I think it went out on an appropriate note. So yeah, I know we wanted to do kind of Q&A session. You guys had written down a bunch of questions for me. It would be, I think, too much to go over tonight. But I wanted to see, like, if everyone could have one question that we discussed. One thing that was burning you that you super wanted to know. One thing that was confusing or inconsistent. There are probably a few of those. Or something you just wanted to discuss with the group. What would it be?
Sorry, one thing.
Anyone want to go first?
One thing total or one thing each?
One thing each person.
Okay.
Can I ask something that's not my question?
No, you can't. You get
No,
one.
no. It's,
Tell you what,
it's
here,
a favor.
if
Can
everyone's-
you reveal the map just so I can recall what it looks like?
Oh, that's in the imagery album,
Like-
I think.
Uh,
The whole map.
I'm sure it is, but he might have tweaked it.
So I don't want to reveal it because I actually
have
made
some-
some changes that concern Glimmerhaven. And the version I have here is old, but I can definitely get the map out to you guys. So everything I think that we discussed, I can let me show a bit more. Reveal areas, so I can show you kind of where Fawn is from. No, that's not doing it. Polygonal reveal.
If
And
this is
all
maybe
of-
too in, yeah, if it's too in the weeds, we don't have to. But
Oh,
like,
nice.
Whoa.
Yeah, so Fawn is from the Black Forest. The dwarves she was fighting against are from the Smoking Foothills. You guys have been all throughout Palatinus, not so much in Taurus. Through Cien, some of Ariadnish. The Spell-Scarred Plain should have like a bunch of red clouds above them, just with the way the sun was always blocked.
we did bounce around there for like weeks.
Yeah.
It was fun. But like,
Yeah, but I'll definitely add that in. And then the Isle of Laurent, I didn't add like the volcanoes or any of the like architecture, but that island is big and is to the east.
Nice.
So yeah, that's where it relates. Like you guys were going from party was ? Here to somewhere around here, sort of at the on a swampy plateau where you could still see the ocean, but it could also see the volcanoes at the center of the isle.
Nice.
So yeah, that's kind of the campaign world.
Cool. So really, while everyone thinks about like guess what question we can do then, I have something to do. I resurrected my old Roll20 dice analyzer,
Yes.
and it only counts d20s. So because all the other rolls are kind of hard to get to, but I've totaled up and averaged and counted 20s and 1s for each person and character.
Wait, is
Yeah.
this for our entire campaign?
This is for our entire campaign.
Oh my
Wow.
Yes,
god.
let's do it.
So just
Wait,
d20s.
because Roll20 preserves that, huh?
Yeah, so
Since the beginning, like if we
so
kept
you can
scrolling,
open up
we'd
the
go all
chat
the way.
and go all the way back where Travis is just messing around before we were any of us invited
Oh my
in here.
gosh.
Oh my God.
Anyways, so let's see. So Travis, I don't think you didn't roll a whole lot in game because you mostly rolled outside of game.
I did a lot of physical dice up until like the very beginning. I did some stat rolling, and at the end for like the big dragon fight, I wanted all the rolls visible.
Right, but
'Cause-
just for d20s, you didn't do a whole lot. So what I have in you for d20s is you rolled 69 d20s.
Nice.
4 of those were 20s. 2 of them were 1s.
Okay.
Your most common d20 roll was a 9.
Nice.
They still hurt like hell.
Josh, so I have stats for you total and Orin and Nina broken down as well.
Do it.
Go the broken down ones first and then the total.
Okay, so for Orin, you rolled 296 d20s. You rolled 16 20s and 14 1s, so pretty close. And your most
Nice.
common d20 roll was a 10.
Wow, that's
there you
really
go.
good.
Yeah.
Roll
Average.
through.
Yeah, that's
so
pretty average.
Nina rolled 740 d20s, and she had 42 20s and 42 1s.
Wow.
Wow.
Don't say their
Wow.
algorithm isn't accurate.
Hey, 42.
Yeah.
That's the answer to everything.
Yeah, damn.
And
Everything.
Nina's most common roll was a 16
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
on d20.
let's be
the
honest.
meaning of life, 42.
So,
Yep.
Josh, all that grouped together, you rolled 1,036 d20s. You had 58 20s and 56 1s, and the most common roll across
Right.
all your characters was 4.
So the
So
total
Orin
was
had a lot of 4s and Nina had a lot of 16s.
1,000 and what?
1,036.
No wonder Orin died.
Nice.
What's
Yeah.
30?
Yeah.
Damn.
Allison, I did the same thing for you. So I grouped yours by character. I also grouped yours out besides Fawn and Buck if you want to see which of them rolled better.
Oh my gosh.
I don't even know the
do
word
the
that
characters. Do the
Okay,
characters.
so oh yeah, this was good. All right, so for Amrith, you rolled 260 d20s. You had 11 20s and 21 1s.
Oh. Wow.
No wonder Amherst
Basically
died.
2 to 1.
Amrith's most common roll was a 1.
Oh my god. No wonder.
She was coist. She was coist from the.
I was cursed from the start. That's why I.
Dude, Amaranth was a putz.
So
Oh my god.
Ow.
just for Fawn, so as Fawn, you rolled 485 d20s. 24 of them were 20s, 23 of them were 1s. Your most common roll was a 7. Just for Buck, you rolled only 178 d20s. You rolled 7 20s and 6 1s. Most common roll was a 5. And then Allison, all grouped together, you rolled 923 d20s, and you had 42 20s and 50 1s. Most common roll was a 10.
I have no
Amaranth
luck.
really skewed that shit.
And
Now Durian.
Durian.
No.
So you rolled 836 d20s.
Ooh, a lot less than everybody else.
Yeah. And you had 42
job.
you had 42 20s and 46 1s. Your most common roll was a 14.
A couple of
Wait,
ones were
good.
on Wrecking Ball. I think I remember.
That would
Performance
account. That would
checks.
account for the
Yep.
spread.
Nice.
It makes sense though, because you cast more spells which don't require D20 rolls.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
like
as the
healing.
campaign went on, I did less attacking and less performing. So
Yeah. And then the counts for Caven, I rolled 1,071 d20s in this campaign. I had
Wow.
The most.
I had 65 20s and 54 ones. My most
Yeah.
common
Oh.
my
And
most
this is-
common d20 roll was a 20.
yeah, dude.
Nice.
Oh.
It's funny. I remember the very first attack made in this campaign was a nat 20 by Caben to shoot a goblin with his bow.
I rolled
The
three
crit
nat 20s in
confirm
a row.
Was a nat 20, and the auto kill confirm was a nat 20. You went the first three
Auto
rolls
kill
of this
the
campaign was
first low level.
20, 20, 20.
I remember you're like, "Hey, roll 20. Is this broken?"
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, that's awesome.
Definitely
Thanks for those.
not Bregor confirmed.
Yeah.
Gregor
Now-
was boom or bust. He
Gregor
was
was
20 or 1.
Yeah.
He got a lot of 20s. He got a lot of 1s too.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess burning questions.
So I'll-
one for each.
Yeah, I'll start off. So in my section, I had a bunch of questions I wanted, but one of them, I guess, would be good discussion for this is Travis. When
Yes.
when did the Black Fang become a thing? Was it set in the world from the start, or was it like a random offshoot from the Tycross side quest?
Yeah.
How
yeah.
long had she been implanted in the government? Was she behind the deaths of the children in the first
This is a
episode?
multi-part
I
question.
know, just all this
Um,
discussion because we were
yeah,
all
so-
we didn't had no idea.
Yeah. So the Black Fang was not something that existed on episode 1. I got some good advice when I first started this campaign. I got a lot of shit advice too, but I got some good advice saying kind of build small and build out. So what I planned for the first campaign was having you guys all meet up, and we'll go through that probably the next time we do a Q&A. But having you guys all meet up and do one of several missions. I think I had planned out 3 of them, one of which was a goblin cave, one of which was a kobold. God, I think it was just like some kobold thing on the plains, and the other of which was a goblin cave. And luckily, you picked the first goblin cave. And basically, some advice that I got was start small, just define the town you're in, define the scenarios that are the first missions, and put something in that you don't know where it leads. So I put in a pair of signet rings, gold, with a fleur-de-lis design. And I had no idea what they meant.
Carried through to the end.
I had no idea what they meant or why they were there, but I'm like, you know what? This is good because you guys can look at them. Your characters aren't going to know what they mean either, and we can find out together, and boy did we. The Black Fang I created originally as kind of basically a hit squad. And Tycross was an escaped murderer, basically. He was an escape from justice. I was trying to introduce more factions into the world, and he was gonna kind of be a one-off, and then we would see the Black Fang pop up from time to time. And then Orin died. and that gave them a much more personal connection to you guys as players than really any other organization that I had introduced up to the time. I hadn't introduced many, and you guys wanted revenge, and you got it. And there were some follow-ups, and whenever I mentioned the Black Fang, and Josh would go, these guys, and Jimmy would shake his head, and everyone would be like, the Black Fang. So
Gnome.
I think I found something I can incorporate. But But I had kind of the idea all along that there might be a conspiracy, but I didn't want to try and tie everything together unless it made sense. And it turned out about, 2/3, 3/4 of the way through the campaign, I'm like, this actually could make sense. If there was someone pulling the string, basically when you started working for the Council of Cien, I kind of saw how I could pull some of the bigger picture together. And that led to Lady Nephish, who you were so happy to do a mission for and get the cool sword from. Oh, it was great. It was great.
The funny thing is, too, with Nephish, we totally thought she was bad and connected to, what's his face, Fenric. And then once we got the sword thing, we sort of overlooked a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean, the whole Venric thing kind of popped up right around then, too. And you guys pursued that, which was great. That was a great fucking... I loved that you hated that guy. It was awesome. I love that. Love getting that reaction.
The thing was the thread for everything that came after. Like, yeah, we went after Recumen. Yeah, we did other things. Mm-hmm. In the initial encounter with Venric is when I stole the Electrum sheet, which ended up being the thing that ended up driving me for the second half of the campaign.
Yep. So that suggestion was from a random D100 thing that I found on Reddit.
The suggestion of the signet rings?
No, the House of the Winds.
Oh, the House of the Winds.
Yeah.
Not bad. Thanks, Reddit.
Yeah, so there was a list of 1 D100 minor rewards or something, and it mentioned an Electrum tablet that was inscribed with instructions or something to the House of the Winds, and then in parentheses, determine what this means for your campaign. So I literally rolled a D100, saw that, and I'm like, fuck yes. So I also rolled the Golden Rose that I think Caben stole, and the bracelet of fireballs that one of the two of you stole from that tomb. I just rolled on that table.
Yeah, we stole a bunch of stuff that day.
And now the House of the Winds has a history in this world. A history I've sort of outlined out.
Nice.
And it's a future adventure for someone who wants to take it.
Nice. So last part of that question. So when you named the Black Fang and you had it, was at that point, was there a dragon behind it as the Black Fang, or was the Black Fang just a name?
No, it was just an easy sigil that I came up with. And then I thought more like, because fucking organization names are hard. I named them after the White Fang from Ruby. And
oh, okay.
And I'm like, well, what does the Black Fang represent? I'm like, you know what? Ain't enough dragons in this campaign.
Nice.
More dragons.
I love
Yay.
it.
More dragons.
I love it, Travis.
See, I wasn't sure if you pulled it from, because I know I watched Ruby. I wasn't sure if it was fully from Ruby or from one of the Fire Emblem games that actually has like the Black Fang or something in it as well.
Yeah. I realized afterward that they were in Fire Emblem, and I played that game, but it wasn't something I consciously thought of. So, yep, percolating in the back of my mind apparently.
2 thumbs up.
So, yeah, so that's Kevin's multi-part question.
Discussion.
Fucking cheater.
Discussion.
I got one that ties into it. I got one that ties into the whole subject line. So I'm sure we've all thought about this, Travis, but seriously, why a fucking gnome?
Because they weren't super prevalent in my world, and because they're so non-intimidating. They're just like 3 feet tall, and they're all kind of chubby, and they I just imagine gnomes. I actually like the Pathfinder take on gnomes, where they're sort of like tinkerers and inventors, and they're all all of their hair is brightly colored. And there's a lot of variance in hair and skin color, and I love that visual. So I'm just like, there's a fucking green-haired gnome, just like green hair gnome.
Just
He's in there.
doling out insults and blackmail, like he thinks he means something.
And the funny thing is, he had everything to back up every insult and threat.
Sure, but we
he had
still
a dragon.
stuck it to him. Still fucking
Yeah.
stuck
Yeah,
it to him.
you kind of, but my favorite part was the jail scene. Where I
Oh
think
my
he was on
God.
one side and was that Caben on the other?
Yes.
And he was just needling you because he wasn't going to do anything to escape or hurt you. He was just going to sit there and wait to get bailed out because he knew he could. And if you tried anything against him,
He would.
he rolled stealth checks and he got things into his cell that would have prevented you from easily killing him. But yeah, like so he was kind of a I forget. I think he was no. I have the stats here. He was a rogue actually, and he had some powerful magic items. He had a ring of Featherfall and a ring of invisibility.
Dude, I thought he was a straight up wizard.
Yeah. Wow.
I slowly
he's
he wasn't a wizard.
he's shot one of you with a bow for like 46 damage with
Yeah.
the sneak attack stuff. So
I don't remember that.
yeah, he was a very evasive. Like I think you guys made rolls to like grab and grapple him, and he's a rogue. He's high dex, like easily get out of that shit.
So he was never teleporting. He was just turning invisible.
Yep. Ring of invisibility. Like, if you had killed him, you would have gotten a ring of invisibility right off his hand.
God, I would have loved
Earlier.
that so much.
We did later.
Yeah.
That's all that counts.
Yeah, you did later, but he was too charred. Like, you left his corpse.
No,
in
yeah.
the-
I'm just glad we killed him. I don't want the loot.
Yes.
It's to me, it's curious why you chose a gnome because like in all the D&D world, you've got like the demi-humans, the beastkin, the demonkin, all that kind of stuff we could have had with someone tied to the Black Fang, and you went with a gnome. So.
Because a gnome is a curiosity, people are going to look and quirk an eyebrow, but no one's going to see them as a threat. And that's what I loved. I love everyone's going to be like, oh, it's a gnome? You don't see a lot of them. And they're just going to turn back to whatever they're doing.
That's what we thought when he walked into that bar and started talking to us. I was like,
Yeah.
we can handle this guy. Like, nope.
In terms of recurring jackasses, he was like probably the person who recurred the most in the entire campaign. Like,
Ugh.
You fought him as many times as you fought Venric.
Yeah, Venric.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
Venric was the early repeat, and then because we ran into Venric
was
like
great.
3 or 4
times?
times, and the,
Three.
You fought Venric 3 times, and you fought the gnome 3 times.
we didn't. We actually ran into the gnome more than that, though, didn't we? Because we
Yeah,
ran
we
into him. I feel like we ran into him one time, and he just like said something, like the time when I like tailed the minotaurs or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you ran into him more, but you actually fought him in battle 3 times, I believe.
I think that's right.
Yep.
Fuck that guy.
Uh,
I've never felt such like inordinate rage in a fantasy.
Yeah, and I've told both Kevin and our Dart, our DM on Tuesdays, like that feeling of you guys being so angry.
Oh my god.
Like, and
I still actually have more satisfaction killing him than
the dragon.
than
Yeah.
the dragon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because the
Actually-
dragon was a late addition, right? It was the last 10 episodes that we learned that there was a dragon that was the Black Fang and probably Lady Nephish.
Mm.
Like, we learned that late, whereas the fucking gnome.
The fucking no.
And you would always do the pre-session like, and the camera zooms over and it'd be the like fucking gnome tootling about. Like,
There's just a woman. There's a halfling woman in a bonnet talking to Walter at a bar, and she walks out and removes the bonnet, and it's a magically it's a disguise bonnet, like it's the gnome, and your guys' faces. Oh my god, I loved it.
So, Travis, it turns out we actually fought him 4 times.
It might have been
Because-
4, actually. Now that you
Because
say
there was,
that.
there was the one incident in the bar.
Yep.
Him on the bird, the chimera, and then him in the mech. A total of 4.
Yes, the bird, the chimera, and the mech. You're right. Because you technically fought him twice in the
final part.
last 2 sessions. Yep. You're right. 4 times.
I count that as one encounter though. Just like
It's
it doesn't
you
matter.
know.
Anyway.
Yep. So Josh, that is the gnome. Allison, Kevin, what about you guys?
Kevin went.
Already.
I'll
Kevin
go.
had like a 4-part
Oh, I'm sorry,
question.
Allison and
Whoa!
I was
Allison
like,
Say we
and
get
Jimmy.
like a shot.
What?
I know,
Allison-
right? Total
Allison,
cheater.
is yours good to end on?
mine's probably going to be short. I just want to know who the fuck the guy was from the hotel a really long time ago where I first got asked like the Pocahontas lyrics question when I don't think I can't remember the exact details, but like I ran into him and like maybe he like was trying to break in. I can't remember if he was like trying to break in or what he was doing, but
He was
Yeah.
in
Sure
you
Passion of
recall.
the Gnome too.
Yeah, so this was one of General Aravan's agents. So basically, there were spies throughout Cien, wild elf spies. You ran into a couple different ones. Thea was, I think, the third one you ran into,
mhm.
and they were basically the doppelganger that was impersonating Lord Tegan was making deals with the deep dwarves. So he was making deals. Basically, you guys were the next war. You guys were the next war that the dragon was going to ignite. You guys and the dwarves and Cien. And that was going to be the next... I don't know necessarily if I would call it campaign push, but the next thing that would be happening adjacent to you guys that you could interact with or not. And you would be hearing about through, once it started to get going, would be hearing about from people at taverns and areas you were traveling to. But basically she was going for like total continental war and profiting from the chaos. So basically the doppelganger was helping Cien supply your enemies.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay. That I remember that pissed me off really bad because I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, the spies in the country were trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. Why is this nation of elves helping dwarves who are going to kill more elves?
I gotcha.
So the question, and I asked you, I think, before the session, how caught up are you on your Disney,
Yeah, and I was
song
like, what
lyrics?
the fuck is he talking about? And then he asked me, and I was like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, because basically, if you answered it right, it's like a successful bluff check. Like, they think
Okay.
you're a spy working for them. So it was kind of your chance to sort of talk to them and gather info.
And I failed horribly.
I gave you the chance to just know the song of Pocahontas. How high does the sycamore grow? If you cut it down, then you'll never know.
Yeah,
like,
I
to-
was just like, nope.
Yeah, and I also gave you a roll at it as well.
Yeah, I remember that. And I still didn't
which
know. And
I
was
think
like,
that was
meh.
one. I think that was one of those nat ones.
Probably.
Yeah. So the whole idea is that the deep dwarves are cutting down forests, damming up rivers, and using them as fuel for their forges, right? So I think the second question you got asked was how fast does the river flow? Which, if you follow the pattern, if you dam it up, then you'll never know. But that one was harder. And I gave you a roll for that too, and it was low. So I kind of let it proceed from there and wanted to get that a bit more into the narrative. But then you guys kind of went to Ariadnish, whereas the spies were more in Cien. So if you guys had stuck around Cien, you would have seen a lot more of that, or had that play out, or would have been contacted probably by Thea before you got to Ariadnish.
It was around when I was really pushing for us to go north.
Yeah, you were
Okay.
super pushing for the party to get the hell out of Cien. I think this is the next war zone, and it was. It was going to be.
Okay.
Dude, the
Yeah.
durian sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. The sense was real.
All right,
Yep.
that was all.
So Jimmy.
So I have only a couple questions because there's so many things I could think of or
Sure,
couldn't think
it's
of.
3.5 year campaign.
And I just thought of the best question.
Okay.
So I'm gonna maybe ask this one, and then maybe if we have time, I'll ask a question on my
Fucking
list.
mic drop.
Yeah, no, on my list. But here's the question that I really want to ask as the last one going.
Sure.
What is the thing that we don't know or didn't have a good idea about that you want to tell us about right now?
Oh no, I got this one, and it was totally your character that did it. So Platinus and Taurus, like, shit was bubbling up. You guys were in the middle of it. You defeated a dragon. You had rescued these gray elves. You basically had one mission to go on to prevent Taurus and Platinus from falling into war.
Is the fucking goblin?
It was.
Okay, so that was actually the question I was first gonna ask.
Yeah.
I was like, what was?
So basically, when you got the invitation from Griphook outside the capital of Platinus, you went down and you talked to him in secret, and he told you, our chiefs are being influenced by some humans. We need, like, we have to clear this out. We're being manipulated. They're pitting us and the orcs against the kobolds and the dragon. Like, please help us. And you told him you would, and you went back to the capital, and you left the country.
Because our thinking was at the time was, or at least my thinking about not telling the party, because I didn't tell the party about that.
Nope.
I didn't give you guys an option, and my thinking was, this king, the king of Platinus, is stupid.
Henry the Bold.
He
wasn't.
He's bold.
He wasn't stupid, but his
frustrating.
brother Prince Louis was much smarter and much better at politics and diplomacy, and you guys had an in with him.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm done with Platinus, and I want to go see something new. We killed the dragon here.
Yep.
So this is interesting, and it was built to me, or rather in my mind, it was like, these goblins want us to tie up loose ends with kobolds. I don't know.
Yep.
Forget it. Screw them.
So basically, the human and humans that he was talking about, manipulating them, was the brother of the king of Taurus. So he was in Palatinus, working with Recumen to kind of do a one side versus the other side, to stir up controversy.
Damn,
Taurus was mentioned a couple times. Like, they had fought a war with Palatinus about 10 years previous. Palatinus won. They stole, like, the ancestral weapon from Taurus, and kept it. Like, sort of the and I mentioned this in the campaign. Sort of the courtesy in war is that you give back the bodies of the dead, and the like, you know, the Ice or Oathkeeper or you know, the Valyrian steel sword of this great house. After you defeat them in war and take their concessions, you give it back as a sign of good faith. And King Henry didn't do that because you know, shit got pretty real during the war, and he was 16, so he didn't give it back. So the Prince of Taurus worked with the dragon to kind of stir up all this shit. You know, unknowingly they were both being manipulated by a certain other dragon. But yeah, if you would have went there, you would have fought, and like I had it in my notes, it's like an auto roll succeed. You would have recognized, oh shit, the guy we just defeated, whether or not you killed him or captured him, is the Prince of Taurus. And now you're in Palatinus with the Prince of Taurus. I would have loved to see what you guys would have done diplomatically, like, oh shit. Like, if we give this guy to King Henry, he starts the war. If we give him back to Taurus, like, we've betrayed all of Palatinus. I would have loved to see the moral conundrum that it would have gotten you into.
You reaffirmed in that session over and over again, no, I want you guys to do what you want to do, regardless of whatever is laid out.
That was the biggest...
Tell me, was that the biggest moment where you're like, God, I just take that path?
No, I was happy because in not doing it, you instigated worst case scenario. Like, if you don't do the thing, then the worst thing possible happens.
See, I'm not saying that they were headed to war. In my mind, they were headed to war anyway, and that when we heard how things happened, I said, that this is going to happen. And the Grip Hook plot line, to my mind, went to a side quest, but I guess it was a connection.
So basically, you're right. They were heading to war. You could have been the group that prevented it, depending on your actions. Yeah, but no, it was great. I loved it because I'm like, okay, the campaign gets to take a new direction. We get to not see Palatinus and Taurus for a while, and when we hear about them again, oh fuck, a war broke out. And you guys just hear about that.
By the way, I'll cast it this way. If I had taken that meeting with Grip Hook with the rest of the party, Amarith would still be alive.
Don't say that, she's already dead.
Maybe.
Let's not dwell on the past.
But
You-
Nope.
Because the
Because
other way
it was the next session. We just headed off, and I said we gotta get.
Rift.
Yeah,
I
but
said we have to go north quick. Let's
there
cut
would have been
corners here.
battles and stuff would have happened. Like
There's no guarantee that Amareth or anyone would be around 100 sessions.
I mean, of course. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Literally, that moment for me was the turning point. Was the one of a couple turning points in the campaign where I said, "Fuck this, I'm out." And the next session, Amareth dies, and the entire dynamics change. Like it's a sea change to the whole
With the
campaign.
amount of ones I was rolling, I'm surprised I survived as long as I did at this point.
Yeah.
So
I
Talking about
think
surviving Travis, one question to follow up on Jimmy's.
sure.
Grip Hook, did he actually survive the whole thing? Or did he die trying to...
No, the after Palatinus came in, raided the area, and took Prince. Basically, he was the Prince of Taurus, but he wasn't the Crown Prince because the king had kids. So he was the king's brother. They took him, they executed him. That spurred on the war. And then the dragon and the kobolds went in and just fucking killed all the goblins and orcs.
oh wow.
Just
Grip
murdered
Hook's
all
dead.
of them. Grip Hook's super dead.
Oh.
Okay.
100%.
Can we ask a few more small questions?
Real quick, if we can get it in about
small questions.
Small question.
Sure. Small questions, one each. Lightning round. Kevin, go.
Baby gender.
Baby gender. Oh, I rolled for this. I've got to look. I'll look that up.
Okay.
Next question. Lightning round. Jimmy.
How many children did I father?
One, but it died with Amareth.
Oh shit!
Oh. That!
what
Wow.
the heck, Travis?
During the campaign, we
Bomb.
rolled for pregnancy rolls.
Fucking menage a trois.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
We did the rolls and
Wow, dude.
let's just say the Chimera got a double kill.
Oh no.
Oh,
That would've-
wow.
Thanks,
And
Travis.
I would
That
have
works.
talked to you also, Allison, to see whether or not you were comfortable with playing a character going through, oh shit, I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
Because if you weren't,
She
we
just fucking
would have.
died.
Yeah, we would have
Are
written
there
that out
back
of the
alley
campaign.
abortions
But
in D&D?
well,
There are
there's
herbs.
magic and stuff you can do.
There's
yeah.
herbs.
We got
there's
recipes of
things.
Mario Povich. We got posts of other stuff too. Don't
Oh
worry about
wow. Jesus.
Llewellyn would have actually been the Mari Povich of Travis's
Oh,
world
wow.
He probably
in
would've.
another dimension.
Yeah. Tecros,
Oh my god. That's the biggest bomb. That's, as far as I'm concerned, that's the
Damn.
biggest bombshell.
Yeah.
Oh.
Jeez.
Who's next?
Damn, Julian.
Yeah.
I got
Allison?
nothing. I'm spent,
Josh.
guys. That's me. That's 100 sessions. I'm done.
That's me?
Done.
Lightning round, Josh.
Okay. If Warren was still around, could he have changed the Taurus v Platinum situation as a prince?
No, like unless you did the Goblin mission, no. Like, what? Some foreign prince comes in and says, "Stop fighting!" No, you couldn't have. I mean, if you would have made it a mission to be diplomats, then yes. But you couldn't just be like, I ask you to stop. No, they wouldn't have.
Okay.
Kevin, congratulations. It's a girl.
Hey!
Aw.
I
Caven's
think
very
Caven
proud.
wanted a girl.
Caven's
Yeah, I think
very
Caven
proud.
wanted a girl.
Yeah.
Allison,
Allison,
do you have a-
lightning round?
Caven's sister's very happy too.
Yeah.
So how did you feel after you killed Amaranth? I'm pretty sure that was the first D character that you ever killed, and it was my first character death.
No,
So,
it was
What'd
the
you do
sec-
after? Was it? The
It
second?
was
Orin.
It was
Orin
the
was-
second. Orin was the first.
Did you die before me?
Yeah, I died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yes.
Oh well, okay then, fine, whatever.
How did
It
it
was-
feel
it
when
was
I
your
died?
first-
You killed me.
It was your first character that died, I think you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was surprised. So basically, that was like the confluence of bad luck for you. So I had this Chimera encounter set up. I had it hidden. I rolled its hide check, or its stealth check, whatever. And I gave you a perception check. So you were pissed at Durian, so you took the lead.
Yeah.
And I said roll a perception check, and you rolled worse than it. So we story-wise said,
So
well,
bad.
you're mad at Durian, and you're in front.
Pregnant with our child. Oh
And-
my god.
Then it ambushed you, and it hit you with like the breath weapon, and it rolled. I think I remember.
And my
I think
horse
it was.
fell on me, and
Yeah, it rolled a 22 on a 3d8. 24 is the max on 3d8.
Jesus.
So it destroyed you, killed your horse. I gave you a roll to like not be pinned under it. You flubbed that. Then we started initiative. Josh tried to attract it. Gave you a 60% roll for him to attract it and get it away from you. He missed it. It got 3 attacks with some bonuses because you were prone. It hit all 3 of them. And then I totaled up the damage, and I didn't know how many health you had. And you said, I'm at -12. I'm dead. And I was surprised. I was just surprised. I didn't think you would be dead. So
yeah,
that one
it was really fast. It
Yeah,
was,
that
like,
was-
really, really fast.
I felt bad, but it was like, okay, it was failed perception check, great damage roll, failed tumble roll or acrobatics
Like
roll to get off the
everything
horse,
was a fail.
failed attract its attention roll, 3 hits on all of its attacks, good damage on all of them. I was
Yeah.
just like, holy shit, and I felt bad, but the encounter was set up that it would try and surprise you. You didn't have to be the first one in the lead, and it was just like, well, I kind of felt that way, that it was more the dice than anyone's fault.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, everything I rolled was total shit, and like that was part of why I made Fawn someone that rides a horse and rides a horse really, really well. I
Yeah.
put like a lot of points into animal handling
Yep.
and
Yeah, and
ride
your
checks
horse
stuff.
was much beefier that she, you know,
Yeah,
Firefoot
yeah.
wouldn't die.
that's why I was like, this isn't happening again. I'm playing someone that rides a horse.
Yep. Yeah, so I was surprised. That was my reaction, was just like, oh my god, I don't believe that. Continue with the combat. What do I do now? So, yeah. And I think that was our whole lightning round, right?
Yeah.
Anyone I missed?
No, that was
All
all
right.
of us.
Well, I got to go to bed, guys. I've
Damn.
had a lot of fun. I really want to answer all those questions, possibly on stream.
We'll
But
cook,
yeah,
we'll cook something up later, I think.
I had a hell of a time with this campaign. It was my first one ever DMing for. And you guys were amazing players, and I really enjoyed it. So, thank you.
You're good too,
Thank you.
Travis.
Thank you.
Don't let yourself
A
off
round of
like
applause
that.
for Travis.
We've all made some new friends on all parts of the world, so that's
Yep.
that's pretty cool.
All the important parts: Middle U.S., East U.S., West U.S., and Australia. That's basically the only parts that matter.
That's all you need. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Okay. Right before we sign off, I tallied up the amount of content we streamed and recorded. At least there's a few sessions we didn't, so sorry about that.
Stuff
But
was lost, too,
it
right?
totaled up to 265 hours, which is approximately 11 days of
Wow.
campaign playing.
That's crazy.
I mean,
you
11
know.
days over 4 years is not like almost
Right.
4 years is not that
Over
bad.
4 years, not that much,
Yep.
but that's how much we've been in role playing and battling stuff.
That's
That's
not bad.
amazing. And we started broadcasting session 4, so we missed the first 3, and then we missed session 10 or 11 didn't get recorded or uploaded or
We
something.
missed
It
a
was the
handful
trial.
there. Yeah, Twitch and I was
Yeah.
learning
When-
streaming. Anyways,
when
it
was session
During
one?
trial.
Session 1, I believe, was September 23rd, 2013. That's the date that sticks into my mind, and
It
it might
was-
not be accurate, but it was mid to late September
Yeah.
2013.
How many changes have happened in our life since we started, huh?
You
Too
got
bad.
married, you had a baby, Kevin bought a house, Allison moved across country, I got a new job, and Josh got an awesome haircut.
And I know, Travis.
Settled down
I got
to a
the Labrador I
relationship.
wanted for 19 years.
That's
Oh,
true.
there you go.
There's dogs and puppies and craziness.
There you go. Well,
Yep, September 23rd, 2013, I believe, was our first
nice.
session. It was a
First
Monday.
play session. Started from the bottom. Now we're here. Guys, watchers, viewers on YouTube or Twitch, thank you so much for sticking around with us. It was my first time streaming anything continuously, so that was fun, and I think
Yeah.
it had a fun new dynamic to it. I don't know. You can ask these guys later. But before we sign off, this ends this campaign. Initially, I know there's always hope of, I don't know, Travis mentioned a one-shot earlier. Maybe we'll do something on something else at some point, but this campaign is done. A nice little bow wrapped up, and it was awesome. It ended perfect, I think. So there might be some stuff on the channel later on. We might do some more Q&As if you want to stick around for that. They'll be labeled and whatnot. Other than that, I think there's nothing else left but just to sign off for the final time. So again, around the Skype screen, our party was Allison, who played Amrith and Fawn and Buck. We had Josh, who played Aaron and Nina. We had Jimmy, who played Durian. Myself played Caben, and we had our incredible DM, who bring this whole world to life, Travis. So
Most importantly, played Walter.
Sorry, I think you mean Llewellyn.
I mean,
Llewellyn.
actually, I do. You're right. You're totally
Llewellyn.
right.
Well,
Played
Be-
Llewellyn.
best NPC by far.
Yeah, that was.
So
Mr. Rangy's guy number 3, 10, and 19.
Yeah.
yeah.
Honestly, I found like you guys liked him so much. I'm like, he's in CN now. Oh, CN sending a delegation to Ariadne? No, he totally went.
It's an economic delegation. He goes.
Awesome. Cool. Well, that's it for tonight and for this campaign. See you guys around.
See ya.